And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Glad you're able to join us. An exciting show on tap. But before we get started, do want to take a look at what just transpired in the world of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Basketball postseason. What a performance by both the men's and women's basketball teams all year long. The BC women's basketball team, USA South Conference runner-up. Congratulations. A school record 20 wins for BC women's basketball in the NCAA era. Josie Hester named USA South Women's Basketball Player of the Year. McKenna Parkins, Jada Petty-Wilkins, both second-team performers. Also, Jordan Gresham named All Sportsmanship. Hester and Parkins, by the way, also named to the All-Tournament team. So big congratulations to head coach Donald Hudson and the women's basketball program. What a season in 2024-25. Meanwhile, the men's basketball team made their fourth straight trip to the postseason as well. Congrats to that group under the direction of head coach Lee Burgess. Twain Wilson named USA South Men's Basketball Rookie of the Year. KK Horton named first team all-conference, and Charlie Hester named all-sportsmanship team. So congratulations as well to men's basketball. Baseball had a weekend series against Guilford. The second game of the doubleheader, a 12-1 win to give the Tornadoes some momentum as they head on the road this week with a trip to Bob Jones. That's 4 o'clock tomorrow in Greenville, South Carolina. Women's lacrosse coming off a win as well. 14-3 over Randolph up in the state of Virginia. Meanwhile, women's lacrosse will be back at home this week versus NC Wesleyan. That's 1 o'clock on Saturday. It's also a big day from a community standpoint. Morgan's Message dedication game. More on that later with our guests from women's lacrosse. Men's lacrosse, they'll be hosting a match tomorrow at Islamel Family Field. That's 6 o'clock versus Pitt Bradford. Men's and women's tennis, they'll hit the road at Truett McConnell this Wednesday in Cleveland, Georgia, in case you're in that area. Softball versus Covenant at the BC softball field. That's a doubleheader that starts at 1 o'clock this Friday. And that brings us to track and field, who just had a huge weekend at the indoor USA South Conference Championships. Channing Barker, a two-time USA South champion. She wins the 800-meter, also the 1 mile. Cameron Eubanks wins the shot put in the USA South Conference. So 3 championships between those two student athletes. Eubanks also named Men's Field Rookie Athlete of the Meet. Other awards include Haley Lane Miller and Alfredo Sixtos winning all sportsmanship team honors. All sorts of podiums throughout the weekend. And to talk about it with us, our first two guests of the evening. We're going to welcome them into the program. Director of Track and Field, Josh Hall, in that upper right location. How are you, Coach?
Doing good, Phil. How are you?
Doing great. And also with us, Assistant Track and Field Coach, Izzy Musser. Great to have you aboard, Izzy. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Phil.
Well, it's great to have you guys, especially fresh off this indoor track and field championship. And, this was something new for the Tornadoes. Haven't done this in many, many years. And the Tornadoes took on the indoor track and field season. It culminated with the track and field championships for the USA South at Winston-Salem this past weekend, and some big results all the way around, Coach. Love to have your sort of big picture thoughts on it, Coach Hall, in terms of this year's indoor track and field effort.
Yeah, I think it was a great experience for everyone to kind of get their first indoor season going. We didn't have much experience on the indoor season, and so to get the student athlete experience, letting them experience indoor was a good thing for us, and it's a good learning curve for next year to kind of prep them and get ready for that next year environment for indoor. So I think overall it was a good experience for them, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and one follow-up on that, Coach Hall, from a results standpoint, Channing Barker in so many ways, just a showstopper throughout the season, multiple wins, had a whole winning streak going at the end of this regular season, and then wins in 2 different events, the 800 meters and 1 mile races at the indoor track and field championships. So I'd love to hear your thoughts as far as that performance.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Phil, she's on a winning streak, and I hope it continues for her. She killed it out there. She was one of our heavy hitters to go get points, and she came through. She also was part of a DMR team, which also got third place, and a 4x4 team. And so she had a busy day, and having the mile in the 800, she went out there, she killed it. She had some really good races, and honestly, I'm very proud of her. And let's hope that winning streak continues.
Well said. And for fans who might not be familiar, DMR, Distance Medley Relay. Coach, could you explain a little further exactly the format of that?
Yeah, so they start off, it's like a regular relay race, except they have different legs and different distances in the DMR. So they start off with a 1,200 leg, hand off to a 400, then hand off to an 800 leg, which then that leads to the final leg, the mile. And Channing ran the mile leg on that one and pulled us through third.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. It's got to be a really interesting race to watch at the indoor meet. Also with us, Coach Izzy Musser. Now, Coach Musser, helps in all phases of the track and field program, but specializes in the throws. And what a performance on the throwing side of things. We had a championship in Cameron Eubanks. We're going to speak with him a little later in shot put. 1-2-3 sweep in shot put between Eubanks, Westbrook, and Antonio King, and then a 2-3-5 performance in the men's weight throw. Coach Musser, would love your thoughts as far as this indoor track and field championship performance by the Tornado throwers.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was basically watching magic happen. They were ranked pretty high throughout the whole season, but like we've come to find out, like throughout the years, things don't always go as planned. Anything can happen. It takes one throw to win it, takes one throw to lose it, vice versa. We always knew all year these boys were neck and neck in every event they were doing. So we knew it was going to come down to the final straw to see who was going to pull ahead over who. It was definitely a nice little competition for a long time. They were back and forth. At one point, Antonio was up, then Noah was up, Eubanks was up, and it was just back and forth the entire time until about the fifth or sixth throw in the finals. So it was really good to see.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And Cameron Eubanks coming away with the championship. Can't wait to talk to him in just a few moments as well. Part of this event, and we talked to, Coach about Hall about DMR and how that's something, new for fans of perhaps outdoor track and field who haven't dove into the indoor side. But part of this event from the field event standpoint is the weight throw on both the men's and women's side. Can you describe for our audience, Coach Musser, what the weight throw is all about and how that's different than, of course, shot put, discus, some of the other, throwing events we typically see?
Yeah, weight throw is very unique. There's a lot of people who know of track that don't know of weight throw. Especially people who know of throws, who don't know it exists. It's probably the heaviest implement you're going to throw in the throws field overall. It is super compact. It's nothing that really can mimic it. It's kind of just its own thing. It's this really heavy ball full of sand. You got to spin with it in circles and make sure it goes far. But kind of teaching that to kids for the first time this season was definitely a challenge at first. But after a while, they kind of picked up on it. You could see them get excited over it. And I think that's what I also came to see at conference was they kind of got to see it like really excited and it got to click for them. So it's very different, but it's also really exciting to watch, especially when you can see these big guys throwing it far.
Yeah, no doubt. Certainly a whole new discipline for the student athletes to have to try to master as well. So fascinating stuff. The weight throw and the Tornadoes come up big in that one. A 2-3-5 finish led by Henry Tart. So congrats there. Coach Hall, would love for you to dive into some of the other events. I know Jackson Wilkerson had, some success. He was all over the place. A very busy day for Jackson. Saw Reggie Taylor in action as well on the men's side. You mentioned that the relay team on the women's side, but Amani Singleton, amongst others, had some great results on the women's side of things. But what else comes to mind as far as some of the events that the Tornadoes were able to really find success to those indoor champs?
Yeah, like you said, Phil. Jackson Wilkerson had a busy day. He was in pole vault, long jump, triple jump, high jump, hurdles. So we had some success in the hurdles. He finished third with a new personal best, and so that was really good to see. The funny thing about the hurdles is 3 guys broke the conference record, and it was insane to watch because all three of those guys wanted it so bad. So he had success there. Amani Singleton, same thing, had herself a day. She was on both of the relay events, long jump, triple jump, and high jump. And so one of the things is she's learning new is triple jump and high jump. She came up big for us. She scored us a lot of points on the girls' side. And on triple jump, it was unexpected, but she finished third. Had two really good jumps that led her into third, and she's starting to get the motion of it. Triple jump is new to her. We've practiced it maybe about a month and a half, and she's starting to get the rhythm of it. And the more repetitions she takes, she just keeps getting better and better.
Great stuff. Yeah. The versatility of some of these athletes and how they're able to adjust and pick up new events, really fascinating with the BC track and field program. Well, Coach Hall, next up is the outdoor season. And it begins at Montreat College on Friday, March the 21st, and then a trip up to Bristol, Tennessee, and then the Tornado Classic on April the 4th. And, just like the indoor championships, the end goal, of course, the outdoor USA South Conference championships in another great show in there. What can we look forward to with the outdoor season upon us?
Well, there's going to be more throws, so it should help us a little bit. We are adding hammer and javelin into that mix, so our throws program should be lifting us up. Hopefully, we get a little bit more spots in the jumps, so more points in the jumps, and then our distance is starting to rise up. So I think the freshmen and the youngsters are really starting to really get their feet wet and know what track's all about here in college, and they just slowly keep building up. And so on the girls' side, we got Channing, Lane, Miller, Amani. So we got some heavy hitters over there on the girls' side that I think they're going to really shine. So 400 hurdles, Lane, I think she's ready this year. She's looking really good for that. Channing is prepped and ready for the 800, 1500, 4x4, and then Monty's getting ready for the jumps. We have two freshman sprinters that are looking really good, and if they overcome the injuries that they currently have right now, watch out for our women's sprints team because I think we have a dangerous 4x1 right now. Exciting stuff.
Yeah. And folks, make sure you mark your calendars. Friday, April 4th, second annual Tornado Classic right here at the Brevard College campus. Coach Musser, we'll leave this last question for you, and then we'll bring in the track and field student athletes who are waiting patiently backstage. A year ago this time, thereabouts, we were talking on Tornado Talk just like we are now, but you were a student athlete. You were competing in those throws that we're describing and that kind of thing. Can you tell us a little bit about what this experience has been like for you? One, graduating, becoming an alum of Brevard College, but now being a coach here at Brevard and being part of the coaching staff here.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience. It wasn't part of my plan at all, but thankfully Coach Hall kind of gave me the opportunity, and I'm really thankful for it. It's been a little hard to transition, especially at conference. I wanted to get out there and compete again so bad. First day outdoor practice today, they're out there throwing hammer and disc, and I'm just like, I want to get in that circle. But we've got a great group of kids, so I love being out there with them. Having those interactions with them, seeing them get better. It's the best part of this job, honestly. Graduating and still being on campus is, again, it's a little hard to navigate. I'm like, wait, I still know these people. So it's a little crazy to be like, okay, my friends are kind of like not my classmates anymore. But it's great. The best part about it, though, is just interacting with these kids all the time. They make jokes all the time about how I'm an alumni and I'm a grandma now, even though I'm like a year older than them. But it makes it interactive. It's really fun. Just getting to see them out there and getting to work with them a lot. So
very good. Well, congrats on a great start to your coaching career. A lot of hardware to show for it already, coming off these USA South Conference indoor championships. Well, speaking of hardware, we're going to invite in two of these USA South Conference champions into the conversation. Cameron Eubanks joining us, also Channing Barker. Great to have these two aboard. Coach Hall, we'll let you introduce Channing Barker. So many members of NATO Nation have met Channing before on these programs and that kind of thing. But tell us a little bit about the competitor and the person we're dealing with here in graduate student Channing Barker.
Yeah, like I said, Channing's she's a go-getter. She's very hardworking, shows it at practice, and she comes to win. That's one good thing that I really love about her is her drive, motivation to go out there, and she wants to bring home the title. And so she's a hard worker, and honestly, one of the hardest working people we got on the team. So.
Well said, and winner of that 800 meter and 1 mile championship. So the hard work certainly pays off. And speaking of hard work, Cameron Eubanks has been hard at work on the throws. And Coach Musser, tell us even more about Cameron Eubanks as you've coached him on these throws all season long.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have him on the squad, honestly. Thankfully he came from football and he's been a joy to have ever since. He keeps practice energy really high. He never really has a bad day. He's always a big bubble of energy and fun to goof around with. He's been putting in so much work. He's also a huge threat people don't see coming. He's been putting in so much work. He's been looking great so far today in the hammer. He kind of shocked us. So I'm glad to see what he can do this semester, rest of the season. He's really putting in that work, and he's going to do some great things come outdoor season.
Awesome stuff. Cameron Eubanks and Channing Barker. Great to have them aboard. Coach Musser, Coach Hall, thank you for taking some time with us here on Tornado Talk. Congrats on the indoor championships, and we'll see you at Frank Patton Track for some outdoor action before we know it.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, there they go. And as the coaches helped us introduce these two, here's Cameron Eubanks, that upper right location. How are you, Cameron?
Doing pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, welcome aboard. Great to have you on the show. Also with us, no stranger to Tornado Talk. Great to have her back, and love talking to her, especially after some championships like this. Graduate student Channing Barker. How are you, Channing?
Oh, I'm good, Phil. Happy to be here.
Yeah, great to have you aboard. Well, Cameron, let's start with you. You won the men's shot put championship. Congratulations. Can you kind of tell us how it went down for you, how you felt throughout the event, and tell us about that winning throw, 14.09 meters.
I got you. Well, so when I first got out there, I already felt great. Like, picked up the shot put, I got in the circle, I felt amazing. Like, I knew I was gonna throw an absolute bomb out there. But to be quite honest with you, when I threw the 14.09, I knew I had 14 in me, but I didn't know I was gonna win. So when I eventually threw it and it hit me, it was like, man, like I'm about to win conference. And like my whole team was happy for me. Everybody was jumping up and down, man. It was a great experience.
Yeah, and just the team side of things here, Cameron. When we're talking about the team as a whole, you guys look out for each other regardless of the event. But from the thrower standpoint, I know you guys are a tight group. You guys work out all the time together, all these things. But you guys end up sweeping the men's shot put 1, 2, 3. Yourself, Noah Westbrook, Antonio King, a 1, 2, 3 sweep. Tornadoes on shot put. How did that feel once you realized, how those results fell into place?
It felt great, but that was now the sweep. We had that plan from the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year, we said to ourselves, like, we want to sweep conference, man. There's no reason anybody else here can mess with us. We want to sweep conference, so it was a goal for us from the beginning, and we got it done. So, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. Then one last one before we bring it over to Channing for a few questions. The weight throw, Cameron. You end up finishing in third place there, so another podium finish. Your teammate Henry Tart finishes second. King comes through again with a fifth place finish. So 2, 3, 5, not shabby at all for the Tornadoes, and the weight throw as well. Tell us how that one went down for you.
Well, really, the weight throw, I'm completely new to it. I just started doing it this year. And when I first went to conference, my goal was just to go out there and throw a PR. And I was like, I'll throw a PR, I'll be fine. I'm not trying to place. Then, as we keep progressing in throws, I ended up making finals. And I realized I was like, podium is up for grabs because, nobody was necessarily throwing their best. And I was like, well, man, if you're going to give me the opportunity to podium, I'll take it. So I went up there for my last throw, and I told myself, I was like, whatever, I'm just go out here, put everything into it, end up throwing a PR, end up getting third place, put them all into that last throw, ended up paying off. So
awesome stuff. Well, congrats, winning that championship in shot put and big show in a weight throw as well. Channing Barker with us as well, a two-time USA South Conference indoor champion. She can add that to her list. 800-meter champion, 1 mile champion. And as Coach described, you were taking on events even beyond that, racing in relays and so forth. So a busy day for you, but you win the two championships. I'd love for you to take us through the two championships. Let's start with the 800. How did that race go for you?
Yeah, that was an interesting race. It was 1 hour after the mile, which was a hard mile to begin with. So I'm feeling quite a bit of fatigue going into that, and really was not sure what I could do, had no clue at all. And I just went out there and came through my first lap a couple of seconds faster than I ever do. And I just said, okay, let's keep hammering it down. Let's keep going. And ended up, scoring first and just a couple of tenths of a second away from my indoor PR, and shocked myself, shocked everyone else. And so it was a really good feeling because I did not think I was capable of doing that double within an hour of each other. So.
And a follow-up on the 800 meter, this was your fourth straight race win in the indoor competition, in the 800 meter in particular. Did anything change for you in terms of your training and that kind of thing, where you made the 800 such a showcase piece for you?
No, I just started learning at the end of last outdoor season how to really take a race and run my own race and not rely on what other people are doing. And I think that's been the biggest change. And I've really gotten to implement that this indoor season. And I haven't worried about who else is in my heat. I can just go out and run the times that I'm capable of. And that's been the biggest difference for me.
And one more, 800 meters indoor versus outdoor. Compare and contrast for us.
I love it indoor. In my head, it's just 4 200-meter laps, and we do 200 repeats all the time at practice. So it's just checking them off the box one by one, and I feel like it even goes by faster. But I love it. I love running curves. I love the intensity of it. It's really fun. So I'm a big fan of the indoor.
Very cool. Well, you said earlier in the day before the 800 meter championship, you're able to win that 1 mile race. Take us through that experience for you, Channing.
Yeah, that was a really hard fought battle. I'm definitely not as strong in the mile as I am the 8. There's another really good miler from Southern Virginia. She won it last year in outdoor. We're always battling for that. And she went out from the gun faster than I anticipated, much faster. So I kind of just drifted off of her and started reeling her in until we had 2 laps to go. And I made my move around her, and I just didn't let up until the finish line. So it was, I've never raced a mile like that, and it was an intense race, but I was grateful for it.
And if you can just help us understand the scope of your entire day, take us through the entire day, because those other events as well, would love to sort of understand where they all fell into place, how much time you had to maybe rest and recover in between, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So our first event was the DMR, which was the first running event of the meet. And that was at about 10:45. And then had a pretty good rest until the mile, which was at 12:55. Quick turnaround after the mile to do the 800 at 2:00. Wasn't feeling recovered until about 10 minutes before I ran the 800 even. And then I think it was about 3:30 when we ran, or maybe 3:45 when we ran the 4x4. But the 400, as Coach Eisenhower says, anyone can run a 400. So, that one's just everything you have left. But that middle section of my day was quite a lot. And then the DMR on the legs, it all definitely added up in there.
Yeah, well, big congratulations to win 2 championships, with that kind of workload. Really impressive stuff. It's been great catching up with both of you, but before we let you go, Cameron, tell us a little bit about your excitement for outdoor season as we head towards that.
I'm stoked for outdoor, man. Trying a lot of new things like hammer throw. I never got to throw that in high school. And, I'm really looking forward to have a pretty exciting year as far as throwing hammer, picking up disc again, learning more about that, picking up jab possibly. And, there's just so many more events to do in outdoor, and I just can't wait to try them all out.
Awesome stuff. And how about yourself, Channing? What can we expect on your side of things this outdoor season?
Yeah, I'm really excited to build on the progress I've made in the 800 going into outdoor. And since we'll run the 1500 in outdoor instead of the mile, I'm interested to see how much I can whittle down on that one too. But yeah, I'm super excited to see the progress that I can make going into outdoor, especially with this 4-week training block that we have before our first meet. So
awesome stuff.
To that.
Channing Barker, graduate student from Dunlap, Tennessee. What's the graduate studies in, Channing?
Business administration.
Very good. Excellent program here at BC, going for that MBA. Meanwhile, Cameron Eubanks, freshman season here at Brevard College. Have you zeroed in on a major? What are you up to in the classroom?
Right now, my major is computer science.
Very good. Yeah, certainly another exciting program right here at Brevard College. Cameron, we have a tradition here at Tornado Talk. You get the opportunity to give any shout outs, thank yous. You'll have the floor for a little bit here. Not quite like the Oscars, which were last night. So, we've got to, keep this in a certain amount of time. But the floor is yours, Cameron. You got any shout outs for us?
Yeah, well, I would love to shout out my parents, my mom, Alicia Dallas, and my dad, Franklin Dallas. Without them, I wouldn't even be here talking to you guys. And, I'd also love to give a shout out to my high school throws coach, Coach Dave, because without him, I would have never been here either. So I would really love to give shouts out to them because those are they're really the main reasons why I'm even here talking to you today.
Very good. Channing, same opportunity for you.
Yeah, Phil, last time I did this in the fall, I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. But this time I told my entire family. So I hope everyone's watching. Shout out to my 89-year-old grandfather who I think is watching. I attribute all my athleticism to him. But really shout out my parents. They've been taking me to track practices and biking alongside me when I run and making the time to be there when I'm doing my workouts and come to the meet since I was 10 years old. So definitely in it for the long haul. And my extended family has made the effort to come to cross country meets and track meets. And I mean, they've just seen me running my whole life. So big shout out to all of them.
Awesome stuff. Cameron Eubanks, Channing Barker, congratulations. USA South Conference indoor champions. We weren't racing indoor races not all that long ago, and Brevard College has arrived on the indoor scene, and congrats on bringing home some hardware back here to Brevard, North Carolina. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, there they go. We're going to switch gears quickly here and take things to the softball diamond as we're going to invite in to the program assistant softball coach Taylor Hanna. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, Phil. How are you?
Doing great. Great to be with you. Well, season's underway. We're finally off and running. Last time we really caught up, Coach, we were still in that preseason mode and in the wear and tear of practices and all that. And meanwhile, Tornadoes get things started, and it all opened a couple of weeks ago with a trip to Macon, Georgia, in a sweep at Wesleyan. If you can reflect back a little bit, Coach, on that season opening doubleheader sweep over Wesleyan, what was that experience like for the team to get things started?
It was really good for us. We kind of came out guns blazing. We were hitting the ground running. Wesleyan's a very familiar foe for us. We see them a lot. We play them almost every year. So we knew what we were getting into. We knew that it was going to be a very evenly matched game, and we were looking forward to just getting to play somebody other than our teammates. We were kind of itching to play somebody else, see new pitching. Hitters wanted to see different looks just to get ready for the season. So once we got out there and we were able to take game one by a pretty big margin, that was exciting, especially coming off of a pretty tough season last year. Just having a new shed of light was super refreshing for all of us. And then to take the sweep was even bigger. We had a lot of good freshmen and some transfers that made big statements for us. And it got us excited looking forward to the next couple games.
Yeah, and you mentioned the newcomers and already winning one of the first awards out of the gate for the USA South Conference. Addie McDougal named USA South Conference Rookie of the Week. She went 7 of 9 in that Wesleyan series. 5-run scorer, 3 RBIs, a couple doubles, a sacked fly for good measure. Exciting, performance in her collegiate debut, Addie McDougal.
Yeah, Addie kind of popped off. She is finally opening up a little bit. She's coming out of her shell, and all of the girls love her. We love her. She's got a funky personality. We have a lot of fun when you're talking to her, but she's one of those kids that her mind runs about 100 miles a minute, but then as soon as she steps in the box, she slows down and like the game is hers. And so for her to be able to do that and just concentrate once she's in the box is huge for us, and looking forward to seeing how she progresses over the next 4 years.
Yeah, and she's part of a freshman class, and I was able to see the team for the first time this weekend, and all sorts of contributions, from freshmen, but also other newcomers like our guest later, Elizabeth Auciello on the pitching side of things. Would love for your thoughts as far as this year's newcomer class as a whole and how they're quickly going to make an impact here on this team.
Yeah, so we brought in 12 newcomers, 10 freshmen and 2 transfers, and those 2 transfers are going to be key for us really far, really deep into the season, and they're already making their name pretty well known around here. Savannah Barr threw for us game 2, and then Elizabeth Auciello obviously took the win up at Wesleyan, and then started game 1 for us this past weekend at home. Those 2 are going to be huge for us, just having some experience from their JUCO and then coming here and not having to go through those freshmen first is going to be big for us. We also have our 10 freshmen who are coming in and they're playing really, really well. Anna Graves got the start the last couple games over at second base. Addison Smith out in right or in center field is playing really well right now too. On top of those 10 freshmen, we also have our 2 red shirts from last year, Alyssa Boris and Andrea Furr, who are also just going to give us some more depth when it comes to power hitting. So we have a lot of new faces and a lot of new names for NATO Nation to look out for. And we're excited to just slowly find what form and what lineup works out the best for us, and just making sure that everybody gets the opportunities that they need, and then just building off of that.
Yeah, and you combine that with a senior class that includes mainstays like Karley Queen and Gabby Hooper and others. It's really interesting, that balance between the newcomers and the veterans, correct?
Yeah, so we have 15 returners and then, like I said, 12 new faces. So that's a pretty good balance. Our seniors are huge for us. People like Karley Queen, Gabby Hooper, Olivia Martinez behind the plate is doing a very, very good job leading our team this year and just like kind of taking over, leading the infield and like growing in different ways. So I've been very impressed with her so far, just how she's led and then taking criticism and just learning from that. But yeah, they're a key part to our success is when our seniors are leading well, along with Valerie Sorrell. She is one of our captains. So when they're leading well, everybody else is falling in line and we're on a good track.
Yeah, great stuff. That blend of veteran wisdom and youthful excitement. It's really exciting to put it all together. Well, the team got things started over the weekend. I mean, some tough weather conditions there. Really heavy wind gust at times and that kind of thing. But season's underway at the BC softball field. Great to have things underway on opening day. And then back at action, another home series coming up versus Covenant. That's 1:00 this Friday if fans want to come out. How did it feel, Coach, to finally get things started at the BC softball field? It was a great crowd on hand despite those windy conditions.
Yeah, no, we love NATO Nation, and we can't say thank you enough to everybody who comes out and supports us day in and day out. And I truly think it's really hard to play in NATO Nation no matter what sport it is. We have phenomenal fans. Our community is awesome. Everybody really pours into us, so we can't say thank you enough for that. The winds were crazy. I mean, all week it didn't have a gust of wind. There was nothing crazy going on. And then all of a sudden we get there on Saturday and I was like, whoa, what is going on? So we had to kind of alter a little bit of our warm-ups just to make sure we were ready for balls in the air and stuff like that. But other than that, I thought the girls did well, just kind of playing through the elements and just making adjustments when we needed to. Obviously, it didn't go our way, and that's unfortunate, but we were able to get some work in today leading into Covenant, and we're just looking forward and trying to make adjustments as we go.
So home versus Covenant this Friday, 1:00. Hope to see a lot of folks at that one. And then it's spring break, and the team will hit the road. We've seen this before, a trip to the Fast Pitch Dreams tournament down in South Carolina. That's March 11th through 13. Some more road games and, some more non-conference affairs heading into ultimately USA South Conference play. Love for your thoughts as far as like this stretch of the schedule coming up, Coach, and how critical it is for the team to get some momentum going, and really start to click with all these games coming up.
Yeah, so Coach Bree did a phenomenal job setting up our schedule this year. That way we could have some games, build some confidence, and just get our bearings down before we hit conference games. So we have a very large stretch of non-conference games, obviously, and then head into the beach. We're going to play some really good competition that's going to get us ready for conference, but it's vital for us to play these games in order to get ready for conference play, because as soon as we start with Meredith on opening conference weekend, we don't stop from there. We play conference games for the rest of the season. We don't have really a break in our schedule. So it's important for us to get as many reps in and as many trial lineups as possible. That way we can be more solidified and more solid going into conference play. It's also big for our freshmen just to get some at-bats so they're not shell-shocked when they get to conference play. They have some confidence. They have things to lean on and different cues to understand before they hit the ground in conference.
Great stuff here with assistant softball coach Taylor Hannah. Hope to see folks this Friday. The softball team will take on Covenant. A doubleheader starts at 1 o'clock at the BC softball field. Coach, can you stick with us a couple moments longer? We're going to invite in a couple of your student athletes who've been waiting patiently backstage, as
Absolutely.
Karley Queen and Elizabeth Auciello have both joined the conversation. Coach Hannah, help introduce NATO Nation to these two.
Yeah, so NATO Nation, you guys know Karley. You love Karley. We all love Karley. She's the queen of our field. Karley's been a pretty consistent starter for us for the last 4 years, and I hate that it's her senior year. I might shed a tear on senior day for this kid. Karley's just the definition of the sweetest human being. She's one of our biggest cheerleaders for our girls all the way around the board. She's someone I know I can look to when somebody's having a bad day and ask her to pick them up, and it's going to be her whole person is picking up that kid and just making everybody feel welcomed. And then on the field, she is a very consistent person for us. She never has really two highs of highs, two lows of lows. She rides that wave pretty consistently, and that's something that I feel like sometimes gets overlooked. You don't really notice the kids that just stay where they're at. And Karley Queen is that kid, and I couldn't be more thankful to have her in my program, and also for her help the last 3 years coming into being an outfield coach. She has made me a better coach, so I can't thank her enough for that. And then Elizabeth is a newcomer. However, she is making her mark on our program very, very quickly. She comes in from the left side, spinning the ball very, very well. She also has a funky personality. From what I hear in the weight sessions with Coach Destiny, she's the first dance circle or something. I don't go to those, so I don't quite know. However, she's coming out of her shell, and she is throwing very well for us. She's going to be vital to our success this season. And fun fact, Elizabeth's biggest fear is getting thirsty on the mound. So always make sure the girl has a bottle of water.
Wow, this is the sort of information NATO Nation tunes into Tornado Talk for. So appreciate it, Coach Hannah.
Absolutely. Thanks.
You get the show. You know how to get those nuggets in there. Appreciate that. Hey, good luck this week in preparation for Covenant. We'll see you out there at BC softball. Great stuff getting the season started, and thanks for joining the show, Coach.
Thanks, Phil.
All right. Well, what an introduction, as Karley Queen and Elizabeth Auciello have joined the show. Karley, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Phil?
Doing great. And Elizabeth making her Tornado Talk debut. How are you?
Good.
Well, it's great to have you both with us. Karley, senior season. How does it feel to have the season underway?
It feels great. It's a little saddening that it's almost over, but it's happy to see me grow through the 4 years and having new teammates, especially this year. It's really been a big, I'm very thankful for this group of girls and the teammates that have my back, and I have their back. So it's been a good year.
Yeah, great stuff. And Elizabeth, a newcomer here for the Brevard College Tornadoes. How's the experience been for you so far as being new to the team, but certainly not new to softball, but new to the team?
Yeah, the team's been really open arms about it, and I just love them. Getting along with all of them and just knowing that they all have my back, even though I'm new here, is really comforting.
Yeah, no doubt. Great to have you both aboard. Karley, we talked a little bit with Coach about that kind of blend between newcomers such as Elizabeth and a big freshman class as well, and then players like yourself. and Olivia Martinez and Gabby Hooper, ones who've been around. What's it like to have sort of that balance of the team? The newcomers, but yourself and the other upperclassmen in these leadership roles.
Yeah, it's been awesome. They all clicked together as soon as they got here. It was kind of cool that we all bonded as soon as we had our first fall game or fall practice. It was really cool to get to know the girls, and this group of girls is special, and in the culture for sure is a big deal for this team.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about that, culture of the team and sort of the excitement that the teams bring. I feel like I hear a new cheer, every few innings that I hadn't heard before. But what does it feel like to be part of this Tornado team, and that sort of excitement, and what do the teams bring excitement wise?
Just going out on the field, knowing that every play, if we make, there's always excitement going on. We always have each other's back. The culture here is definitely big on family. I know that every one of the girls have my back no matter what. With the cheers, we just, make them up, just to have fun with them. It's a great time in the dugout.
Yeah, great stuff. Karley off to a hot start offensively, 6 of 9 at the plate, a double, 6 RBIs. You're hitting at a great clip. Tell us about how it's feeling in the batter's box for you, Karley, and you're certainly getting it done.
Yeah, this year I'm feeling very confident myself. I really focused on my hitting this year. I'm gonna ball out for the last one. It's the last. I have to do something. I have to leave my spot. And going out at that first game, yes, I was nervous, but when I got that first hit, I was just like, okay, we got it. And having those girls behind my back is just an awesome feeling, and just going off of them. And
awesome. And Elizabeth, I'd like you to reflect back to your debut as a Tornado, this performance versus Wesleyan in Macon, Georgia. You got the win. You went all 5 innings, 6 hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts. Can you reflect back on that performance and how it felt to get it done in a Tornado uniform?
Yeah. Leading up to it, I felt very prepared, going over it with our catchers and Coach Taylor about what pitches I need to work on, to go out there and succeed. And then getting out there, I just remember after every inning just talking with Coach Taylor and Liv, my catcher, on what we could do better and what's working. And it made me feel more confident going out there, and knowing that my team has my back was very helpful.
Yeah, good, great stuff. Joined by Karley Queen and Elizabeth Auciello of the Brevard College softball program. Karley, a senior out of Mocksville, North Carolina. Karley, tell us about your softball journey. When did you start getting involved in this sport? When did it become serious, and ultimately finding your way here to Brevard College?
Yeah, of course. So I started since I was 5 years old. I've been doing travel ball throughout my whole life since I was 10 years old, and I thought it was a good idea. My dream has always been to go to college. I wasn't sure exactly what level, of course, but it started getting serious, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna lock in. I need to get recruited. I'm ready to go to college. That was probably my freshman year, sophomore year of high school. And then there was one day at a travel ball tournament where I saw one of the coaches, and we talked through it, and I was like, you know what, this is the dream. This is where my calling, and God brought me to this pathway.
Very good. Awesome stuff. And Elizabeth Auciello with us as well, junior from Tavares, Florida, central part of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Not too far, I don't think, Elizabeth, from Claremont, Florida, where there's a huge softball, facility and so forth, host big national events and that kind of thing. But great to have you aboard as well. Tell us about your softball journey coming from the Sunshine State.
I played t-ball, and then I decided to try every other sport, and then came back to softball when I was 10. And then my senior year, I was getting offers, but I took one from a JUCO school that was 10 minutes away from my house. It was a cheaper and better option at the time, and I went there for my first 2 years and absolutely enjoyed it. I loved it. And then my coach was like, Elizabeth, you got to go for 2 more years. And I remember Brevard offered me, and I was like, it's a great opportunity to get out of the state and experience something different. So I just took the jump for it, and I'm really happy that I took that opportunity.
Yeah, as are we. Really excited to have you aboard as part of this Brevard College softball program. Well, the team will be back in action this Friday at 1 o'clock. Hope fans can come out to that. Karley, senior year, tell us what the studies have been in, what's the degree going to be in, and do you have future plans after graduation as well?
Yeah, of course. So I'm majoring in health science. I'll get a bachelor's in science. My future career would probably be in ultrasound tech, which I will have to wait a whole year, and then I'm going to go 2 more years after that to a community college.
Awesome stuff. Elizabeth Auciello with us as well. Have you chosen a major here at Brevard College, Elizabeth? Can you fill us in on what you're up to in the classroom?
Yeah, I chose my major to be elementary education, and when I graduate, I plan to go home and work at my local elementary school, and like on the side help with like softball.
Cool stuff. Karley Queen and Elizabeth Auciello with us from the BC softball team. These two student athletes and the entire team will be in action on Friday versus Covenant, 1 o'clock doubleheader. Hope to see you there. All right, Karley, you know the drill. Before we let you go, you got any shout outs for us?
Yes. So first of all, I want to thank God for giving us the opportunity of the game that I love and just showing all the skills that I have. I also want to thank my family, my parents, Jordan. I also want to thank just getting me through this journey and getting me through my whole softball career.
Well said. Elizabeth, you got any shout outs for us?
I would also like to thank God for giving me this opportunity. I would like to thank my family for showing up and like surprising me at the games. It means a lot. My friends and my coaches, my professors for always being there for me.
Awesome stuff. Karley Queen, Elizabeth Auciello, 2 members of that BC softball team. Hope you can come on out to the Brevard College campus this coming Friday for the doubleheader versus Covenant. Then you guys are off on that spring break trip. Best of luck to that as well. Hey, Karley, Elizabeth, great job on the show this evening. Really enjoyed having you. Best of luck this season.
Thank you for having us, Bill.
All right, there they go. We're going to switch gears quickly and invite into the program head women's lacrosse coach Sarah Perry. Coach Perry joining the show. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing well, Phil. How are you?
Doing great. Great to have you aboard. Welcome aboard Tornado Talk. And, the women's lacrosse season underway here in 2025. We've talked quite a bit in the preseason, around the Boschmer Gymnasium, Coach. And, the team's been hard at work getting ready. But now the season's underway. We've got a few games under our belt. Can you tell us how it feels, for the games to actually be played now and for the year to be underway?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. We're a small team this year, so being able to play a full 7v7 on the field has been awesome. Seeing, this team's overall talent and skill has been phenomenal. I definitely came into a program that is established and, has a team that really wants to work hard and come in. They put the extra reps in, they'll run the extra laps that's needed, and they never question it. So it's been awesome to work with them and, start the season off really well. I know had a little bit of a shortened fall season because of the hurricane. So that was a little rough, and excuse my cat. It's just been a great experience. And I think that the team and I are really trying to find our chemistry, and we've really found it.
Awesome stuff. And able to get the season underway. You started with a road trip to Guilford down the road in Greensboro. You turned right back around and had your home opener, then a trip to Virginia last week. And on the tail end of that trip, game 2 of the 2-game trip, a 14-3 win over Randolph. So a big result there for the Tornadoes up in Lynchburg, Virginia. First career win for yourself as a head coach. So congrats on that. But would love for you to reflect on that 14-3 win over Randolph and, just how much that meant for yourself and to the team.
Absolutely. I definitely think this team really needed a win. We needed a strong outcome for us. And I think this was a good confidence boost going into, a couple more out of conference games, but really going to start our conference season this upcoming weekend. So it was a good competition. Randolph College is actually my alma mater. So it was really enjoyable to go back, coach on the field that I used to play on. And it was a really different experience, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. This group really made it an exciting game. They took it upon themselves to really share the wealth of the game. So tons of different goal scorers, tons of different assists, all those kinds of things. Had a defender score her second career goal, which was really, really cool. So it was just an enjoyable time as a team. They really came together. They worked together. They worked hard, and we won, and it was a great time for us.
All right, you left me with something in that answer that I can't, let you off the hook on, because we got to dive into this further. The fact that you went to Randolph College, you were a 4-year student athlete, a 2-year captain at Randolph, all conference. You multiple degrees from there, bachelor's and also a master's degree. Then you go back and you win your first career head coaching, win at your alma mater. Other than yourself, were people aware of this? Did people, put all this together? And, can you expound on just how that whole experience was for you?
It was awesome. My parents live up in Virginia, as well as my fiance, who goes to Virginia Tech. So they were able to come out to the game. My fiance also is an alumni of Randolph College, played lacrosse there. So we have a really, big background at Randolph. Unfortunately, my coaches that were there when I was there weren't in attendance, just because they're not on the staff anymore. But I absolutely loved playing against Bruce Reed, who I got to work with last year as a mentor when I was an assistant at Ferrum. And so it was a great experience. He's a great coach. It was awesome. One of my old teammates, Nicole, was able to come out, who graduated a couple years before me. And so it was really bittersweet. I wanted to come out. I wanted to make a statement for Brevard, but also wanted to win this game really, really bad.
Awesome stuff. Well, the team certainly came through a resounding 14-3 win by the Tornadoes. You mentioned conference play. It is upon us, as the Tornadoes will be in action this weekend, 1:00 Saturday versus NC Wesleyan. Would love for you to, look ahead to the week ahead, what that's going to look like for the team and the preparation for NC Wesleyan.
Yeah, definitely. Working on whatever mistakes we made at EMU and Randolph is our top priority. We always really like to focus on us, but, watching, what kind of plays they do, what kind of defense they play, scouting the team super well, but also, like I said, focusing on us, focus on, what we can do, what's going to be the best for us during that game, those kinds of things. And I think this team really communicates well, especially during games, if we need to change up some stuff. But, like I said, big thing for us is focusing on our game, how we play, what we do, how we control our emotions, all those kinds of things. So I think if we come out really strong and play the game we know how to play as Brevard women's lacrosse, then I think we're going to be solid.
It's also a big day in terms of service for the Brevard College women's lacrosse program. Proud to have been able to be a part of this event in the past years and doing it again this year. Morgan's Message dedication game. The game will be dedicated to the life and legacy of Morgan Rogers, former Duke University lacrosse student athlete who tragically passed away after battling mental health struggles in 2019. Her legacy of unconditional love remains, as continue to spread this message to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health and normalize these conversations about mental health to make sure these kind of things don't happen again. Coach, I know this is an important program to you. I know you were involved at Randolph College with Morgan's Message as well. Could you tell our audience even more, how this is so important for women's lacrosse as a sport, and for the Brevard College team in particular?
Absolutely. So the two current presidents are two of my senior captains, Lex and Emily. They've done a fantastic job, prepping this club, getting it ready to be what it needs to be. We've had a lot of participation, like people coming up to us at tables during games when we host different dedication games. But, it all started with the lacrosse community. The lacrosse community is pretty widespread, but almost everyone knows at least someone in each area. So it's pretty connected. And when someone, suffers a loss like this, we all feel it. And it's just been a good experience for, us as a team to really connect and say, mental health is super important. Please feel open to come talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be me. It can be, counselors on campus. It can be your mom, whoever you feel most comfortable with. But, as an athlete, I struggled with mental health and through grad school and everything. And so starting a chapter at both NC Wesleyan and Ferrum led me to coming to an established chapter and continue being a staff advisor for it. It's a club I love very much. I get to work with some great student athletes and, really start the conversation that needs to happen.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, I hope folks can come on out to the game this Saturday and get involved with Morgan's message. We'll be pumping it up throughout the spring semester across all of our sports as there's, games at different events. There was a game at a dedication game at baseball just the other day as well. So appreciate their involvement also. But Morgan's message, an outstanding cause. Well, Coach, your first time here on Tornado Talk. So there's audience members who haven't had the chance to really get to know you. So tell us a little bit about your background and in this sport of lacrosse. When did you start getting involved and playing, how playing turned into coaching and ultimately finding your way as the head coach here at Brevard College?
Yeah. Honestly, through undergrad, I thought I was going to go to med school. I was a biology major, really never knew what I wanted to do. The realization came to me my senior year when I was graduating, and I thought, I'm not done. Like, I want to go back because it was during COVID my junior year. So I had a couple years of extra eligibility. I wasn't ready to give up the sport. I absolutely loved it. And I knew the closest way I could be to it was to coach. And so went back to grad school, ended up because of, mental health struggles and other things, ended up not playing my 5th year and ultimately found a nice home at EC Glass High School in Lynchburg and took them to the first round of states where they've never been before, and really found where I was supposed to be. And I've never felt more at home when I'm on the field or I'm in my office or talking to athletes. I love lacrosse. I've been playing since my 7th grade year, played through college, played in high school, all the things. But this is completely different than just playing the sport. It's building those relationships with student athletes and, watching them grow and become adults and see what their futures hold.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Great to have you aboard, Coach Sarah Perry. And tell us a little bit upon your arrival here at Brevard College, what that experience has been like for you here at Brevard College and, working with this outstanding group of student athletes.
Oh, it's been phenomenal. This group definitely keeps me on my toes, makes me laugh all the time. We have a great time at practice, being able to, work hard, but also have fun as you should when you're practicing your sports. But I mean, they're an older class, so I've got quite a few seniors that have been around the block, but they're all leaders on the field. They all work well together, and it's been a great experience as my first year as a head coach to be able to come into a program that has those student athletes that are super strong. They have been working their butts off these past 4 years, and just want to see where the program can go.
Great stuff. Head coach Sarah Perry with us, and hope to see folks out on Saturday, 1:00 versus NC Wesleyan at Isabel Family Field. Coach, can you stick with us a couple moments longer? We've got a pair of your student athletes waiting patiently backstage, and we're going to invite them in here. Emily Denaga and Zan Hill have entered the conversation. Coach, before we let you go, help introduce these two to NATO Nation.
So first off, we've got senior captain Emily Denaga, who had a phenomenal week last week. She's coming off of 17 draw controls, lots of goals, some assists, true leader on the field, off the field. And, my go-to man when I need to talk, like, hey, we need to run this, we need to do this. And she leads the team without any hesitation. And it's awesome.
And we also have Zan Hill. Tell us a little bit about Zan.
Zan is definitely one of my strongest attackers on the field. She's also one of our draw specialists. And so being able to work with her has been awesome. Another leader on and off the field, just as I have a team full of leaders. But it's just been a great experience to be able to work with both of these students. I've seen them play before as I assisted at other institutions. And so finally being able to coach them and watch them play has been really cool.
Great stuff. Coach Perry, thanks for joining us on this evening's Tornado Talk. We'll see you Saturday at Isabel Family Field.
Sounds good. Thank you, Phil.
All right. There she goes, head coach Sarah Perry. And Coach Perry helped us introduce these two to tonight's show. Emily Denaga, no stranger to Tornado Talk. How are you, Emily?
I'm doing good, Phil. How are you?
Doing great. And Zan Hill joining us as well. How are you, Zan?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Good to have you guys aboard. Great to be talking some lacrosse on the program. Emily, senior season now underway. How does it feel? How does it feel different than maybe the earlier years of your career? And how's it been going so far?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's hit me yet. But these past 3 years have been amazing. I've made many lifelong friends and ready to hit this season strong as my last season.
And can you sort of give us an idea of what the year's been like so far for both yourself and the team, Emily?
Yeah, so we had 2 back-to-back games in the first week, which were pretty tough. So we were able to take the next week off. And then this past week, we were up in Virginia for 2 days. So I feel like, that third week, we really started connecting and, it felt right once we got that second game done.
Yeah, in that second game, got that win at Randolph. We'll get into that in just a moment. But also with us, Zan Hill, the junior attacker from Fort Mill, South Carolina. Similar question to you, Zan. Junior year. You're underway here with your junior season. How does it feel for you, and perhaps different than your freshman or sophomore years?
It feels different because the seniors that are with me were the ones that kind of took me under their wing. My freshman year. So it's kind of bittersweet to see the seniors start to get going into their season. And it's going to be at the end of the season, it's going to be very tough for me, especially losing my draw dog. We won't get into that yet, but
yet is the key word.
But I mean, from freshman year to now, it's changed drastically. But I will keep this one by my side no matter what.
Very good. Great stuff. Well, got that win at Randolph, had to feel great to get, obviously, whenever you get a win, it feels good. But to get that first win of the 2025 season, to do it at Coach Perry's alma mater, even sweeter. And seemed like you guys were really clicking on all cylinders, both offensively and defensively, coming away with that 14-3 win. Emily, tell us about the Randolph win and how big that was for the team.
Yeah, I think it was definitely needed. Even when we got off the bus that morning, everything just felt right. Warm-ups was great. Even throughout the game, we had great draws, great transitions, great goals, great defense. It just felt like everyone connected on the field. And I just think that's what we needed to kickstart this season and going into conference.
Anything to add to that, Zan, as far as the Randolph win?
I think it was just a confidence boost for all of us coming out of playing 3 tough games to winning this game was what we needed to make sure that we all had the confidence going into this weekend. Just starting conference play off really soon in our season is a big thing for us, and we just have to capitalize on it.
Yeah, big results, in terms of the stats for each of you for that Randolph win. 5 goals, 1 assist for Emily, 4 goals, 4 assists for Zan. So certainly you guys were getting it done in that one. And Zan, you mentioned, it's conference week already upon us with the NC Wesleyan matchup. Well, as a follow-up to that, can you tell us a little bit about this week of preparation ahead and, some of the things you guys are going to be zeroing in on?
So this week we're prepping for NC Wesleyan. Like you said, we're going to be focusing on just our shooting. Has been a little bit off recently. So we want to make sure that we go in and fake the goalie and capitalize on our shots. And then also just connecting as a team. I feel like after Randolph, we all connected really well with our passes, our clears, everything. So I think this week is just prepping for the connectivity that's coming for us on Saturday.
All right, Emily Denaga, 367 career draw controls, and this draw dog, phenomenon here at Brevard College. I've seen T-shirts, I've seen social media graphics. I've heard the cheers on the sideline. You name it. All things draw dogs. It's a celebration of that here at Brevard College. Love for each of you to tell us this draw dog story. Emily, why don't you get us started from your perspective? What this, tell NATO Nation, about the draw dogs, what it's all about, the origin story, go in as much detail as you like.
Man, so it started 3 years ago. Me, Zan, and Parker Moore at the time were all on the team, and Coach Riz put us on the circle, all three of us together, and we were like, all right, let's get to know each other. Let's start to work together, and it clicked instantly, and we just called each other the draw dogs because the draw is what happens at the beginning of the game after every score. So it's just something that we've kept all these years, and it really if something's going wrong in the game, we're like, hey, we're the draw dogs, it brings us back up. So I'm really glad we've kept it all these years.
Tell us more, Zan.
So we actually have now hats made.
There's merch. There's like a whole line of merch. Huh?
We have our own merchandise at this point. We have airbrush t-shirts, street signs. Everything is just draw dogs. And my freshman year, I hadn't taken the draw since high school of my sophomore year. And I got thrown in at a game because it wasn't working. And that's what started this whole thing. And them taking me under their wings, teaching me all the lessons. And truly, we're trying to find our third person. And I think we found her. Ari, who's a attacker, is now a part of our draw dog. So she has to get all the merchandise now.
Very good. That was going to be one of my questions. Now that one of the draw dogs has graduated, who would be the next, successor there? Awesome stuff. You guys have created a tradition here, I'm sure, at Brevard College, the draw dogs. Emily Denaga, Zan Hill with us. We're prepping for a big one this weekend, Saturday versus NC Wesleyan. But it's also Morgan's Message dedication game. And, we talked to Coach Perry about this. The two of you, I know, very active with Morgan's Message. Emily, would love for you to, share, some of the things that the team's been working with the Brevard College community on to raise awareness for Morgan's Message.
Yeah, so we opened a chapter of Morgan's Message on campus back in 2023. Me, Lex, and Cass at the time all became ambassadors through their program and welcomed this new, club on the team. And it's really grown these past 2 years. We promote dedication games. We encourage all the teams to have a dedication game their season. We host monthly meetings and campus events. But for the team specifically, we really encourage open conversations in the locker room and after practice, just shoot us a text if you ever need anything. And I think really that's helped us become stronger as a team. And just inviting to have that conversation really opens the door for a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, it's a great model, not just for women's lacrosse, but for all sports across college athletics. And you guys are paving the way with that. So big congratulations, folks. Urge you to get involved. Check out Morgan's Message and hope to see us Saturday for the game versus NC Wesleyan. Emily Denaga, Zan Hill with us from the Brevard College women's lacrosse team. Zan, tell us a little bit about your lacrosse background. When did you get started and, how did it go from there?
So I started lacrosse back in second grade when my mom called my grandmother and said, hey, you're playing this sport. And she gave me a stick, and it was a guy's stick to begin with, which is not legal in women's lacrosse. They're two different sticks. And then I didn't want to play at all. And I fell in love with the sport after the first practice. Continued playing all through elementary school, middle school, high school, and now I'm here.
Awesome stuff. Emily, tell us about your journey.
So I started playing in 5th grade. I was a soccer player, and then I saw all these people on the field with sticks, and I told my mom I want to try that. And the rest is history. Here I am.
Brilliant. Yeah. That's all it took. One moment in 5th grade. That's awesome. Awesome stuff. Emily Denaga, Zan Hill with us. Emily, senior year, what's the degree going to be in? Tell us about that, and also any, future plans you may have already figured out.
Yeah, so I'm going to major in criminal justice with an environmental studies minor. I'm currently an intern with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, which has been going really well. So post-graduation, I plan to go to basic law enforcement training and then apply through their program and take their academy.
Outstanding stuff there. And Zan Hill with us, junior year here at Brevard College. What have you been working on academically, Zan?
So I'm a business major, no minor right now. And I'm really just looking after college to travel. That's one thing on my bucket list. We went to Europe this summer to go play lacrosse. And after going over there, I just want to go back because it was amazing.
Awesome. Great stuff. All right. Well, you guys know the drill. You've done this countless times. Emily, give us some shout outs and thank yous.
Oh man. Obviously everyone here at Brevard, my teammates, Miranda and Riz, my family, they've been through with me since the beginning. So huge thank you to them. And of course, all our fans that come out and support us on these tough games.
Awesome stuff. Zan, shout outs for us.
My family, specifically my dad and my grandfather, and my Nana. I didn't forget your Nana. And I think just like my teammates too, for just the confidence that they bring.
Yeah, well said. Emily Denaga, Zan Hill, Brevard College women's lacrosse. We'll see you out there at Eyes Lamel Family Field this Saturday. Morgan's Message game versus NC Wesleyan. Thanks for joining the show. Great job, ladies.
Bye, Phil.
All right, there they go. And that wraps up another edition of Tornado Talk. Big thanks to Sports Information Director Joseph Marvin. All of our guests this evening, we had some great conversations across track and field, softball, and women's lacrosse. All sorts of action this week. Hope you can join us for some Brevard College Tornado athletics. Go to bctornadoes.com for all your news, scores, stats, schedules, and information. For all of us at Brevard College, thanks for joining us on Tornado Talk. Go Tornadoes!